Welcome to all Caribbean entrepreneurs. If you've been ready and waiting to take your business digital and get paid online while you sip something strong on the beach, this podcast is for you. We'll hear from the Caribbean's finest entrepreneurs on topics like e-commerce, business development, brand building, social media, their wins and failures. This is the only place in the region helping you navigate the digital age from the Caribbean's perspective. This is Digipreneur FM. And now, let's give it up for the Digiboss himself, Mr. Karan Rose.
Thank you to everybody tuning in to another episode of the Digipreneur FM podcast. And as usual, you know who it is. You know the voice, you know the vibes. It's your boy, Mr. Rose. DJ, you know what to do, DJ. You gotta fade us all the way out. We have so much to talk to the people about. But before you fade us out, let me just hear that. Let me just hear this part. Ooh, yeah, DJ, fade us all the way out. It's so crazy that the podcast is going on 4 years in June for 2025. Like, how did we... What is time? What is time? Time is really nothing but a construct, because it was just the other day we were doing a whole live stream, you know, where we were building the website, we were going out and getting the instrumentals, we were jumping on Fiverr to go get the voice actor to voice the intro and the outro and all that good stuff. And you know, yeah, man, we're going on 4 years of the podcast, and as I always say, the podcast space has been my favorite medium, because it's a place where it's 100% me, and we can deep dive into topics that we might not necessarily have been able to deep dive in on other platforms, just because of the format. So you guys already know that, you know, we blog, we do YouTube, we do radio, we do TV, and every single medium has their, you know, their benefits, and it has their shortcomings. And there's no one medium that's going to give you every single thing that you need. However, collectively, when you can build your marketing mix, all of them work hand in hand to give you exactly what your audience needs, right? And I'll always remind you that you should never just focus on, like, if you're really serious about building your digital presence, you never want to rely on just one medium. You need to understand how they all work hand in hand. You need to understand how your audience learns via written content, video content, audio content. And when you can give them what they want in the formats that they like to consume information and like to learn, you know, that's where you're really going to win. Because there are going to be the people that, you know, don't read the articles because they prefer to watch video content. Then you're going to have people who are too busy to read or too busy to watch videos, and the only time they get to consume content is via a podcast whilst they're getting ready for work, whilst they're working out, whilst they're cooking, whilst they're doing chores. So when you have this multi-channel approach where you're distributing content across a variety of different channels in different formats, you're not leaving anybody behind, and people can choose how they want to consume your content. So after we record this episode is going to be one where we're going to turn this into a blog. That way you have all of the information in a written format, and then you also have, you know, the full audio, so you can, you know, kickbacks, you know, jump in your car, press play, and then pull out and then go head to work, or you press play as you start your workout. But again, we want to be where you are consuming the information, and this is going to be one of those ones where we definitely have a write-up, a fully fleshed out breakdown of the information we're going to be talking about today. Today's episode is going to be on the rise of the digital nomads. The rise of the digital nomads, and whether or not this lifestyle is for you. And I say the rise because what we are seeing is in 2024, there were more countries that produced digital nomad visas than any other year before. And if all indications of, I mean, 2024 was an indication of where things are headed, 2025 it's just going to build on top of that. And there's so many reasons why digital nomads are on the rise, because there's a lot of benefits for the actual people themselves, the regular people. You don't have to be rich to be a digital nomad, and we're going to talk about that today. But there's major benefits for the hosting countries. And that's also what I really want to put out there, because I feel like in the Caribbean, we should be doubling down on this, right? We should be doubling down on attracting digital nomads, because our region has so much to offer. Not any one individual country, but the entire region has so much to offer. So if I was somebody who was looking to jump into, the digital nomad lifestyle, and I wanted, the to live in a destination like Dominica that's heavy on the ecotourism, or maybe I wanted to go live in Trinidad and Tobago that's heavy on the nightlife, amazing food, or maybe I wanted to go live in Jamaica for a spell, amazing tourist attractions, some of the best beaches, and it's a lot cheaper than living in the US, the UK, and Canada, right? All of our Caribbean countries, they have something to offer that would attract a variety of digital nomads. But we're not tapping in, and we're going to get left behind because the Asian countries are locked in. They're locked in, and they are doing their absolute best to attract digital nomads. Many European countries are also attracting digital nomads, and South America and Mexico, they're doing their best to attract digital nomads as well. So there's a lot of big benefits, and I really believe that the Caribbean region needs to start paying attention to the shift, because right now we're so focused on short-term visitors, right? And there's a lot of work that goes into bringing in short-term visitors, but you get sustained income when you can start to attract the digital nomads. And the beautiful thing about digital nomads is that part of being a digital nomad is that you're not working in the country. So you're not taking away jobs from the locals, which is a big part of the reason. And we're going to dive into that. But that's a big part of the reason why digital nomads are like the creme de la creme right now, and why countries are building up their countries to attract digital nomads, for that big part that they're just coming with their income, and they're not putting a strain on the local resources. They're not taking away jobs from the locals, and they're pretty much a net positive. Everything that they come with, they're injecting into the economy, right? So we're going to be diving into that today and really exploring the topic of, the rise of digital nomadism, and why countries are really trying to push to attract them. So let's start it off like this, right? Imagine you are able to work from the beachfront cafe in the famous Koh Samui Islands of Thailand, or maybe you decide you want to be able to work from the cabins in the Alps. I mean, that's too cold for me, but if that's your vibe, that's your vibe. Or maybe you're working in one of the amazing, extremely vibrant co-working spaces of Bali. This is not a dream anymore, folks. This is the reality of millions of people who have embraced life without borders, trading in the traditional 9-to-5s for laptops, Wi-Fi, and freedom to work from anywhere in the world. But digital nomadism isn't just about a better life for individuals. No, it's also creating massive opportunities for countries across the globe. So why are places like Thailand Bali, well, not just Bali, but Indonesia, Japan, Portugal, Spain, Panama. Why are places like these rolling out the red carpet for remote workers? What's the catch for digital nomads and governments alike? And are we witnessing a seismic shift in how and where people choose to live? I certainly think so. We're going to be exploring the benefits of this lifestyle for individuals and the surprising ways it's revitalizing local economies and why this trend is only going to get bigger. Plus, we're also going to be using Thailand as a case study to break down why they're betting big on attracting nomads with initiatives like the Destination Thailand Visa, which is what I'm on, right? So I can also, give firsthand experience to what Thailand is doing because I went through the whole entire process. Took me 2 weeks to get a 5-year visa inside of Thailand, and I was able to move, pretty much within less than 4 weeks, or probably about 3 weeks of me receiving that visa. I'd have to check by the dates. But yeah, I think it was less than 3 weeks when I received the visa, I was able to jump on and move. So let's talk about the benefits for the individuals who are looking to become a digital nomad. So you're somebody that has decided, you know what? The cost of living where I am at is becoming too much for me, or the country or the city that I'm living in no longer aligns with what I want out of my life. What are the pain points people are feeling that is forcing them to sit with themselves and rethink their current current lifestyle? Well, for one, I think one of the biggest pain points that's pushing people to rethink their lifestyle and look into this becoming a digital nomad is the escape from the traditional 9-to-5 grind. So many individuals are feeling trapped in rigid work environments with longer and longer and longer commutes because remember, the cost of living is rising in a lot of these cities and people are moving further and further away from their jobs. They're moving further away from friends and family. So now just doing anything is a longer and longer commute than ever before. The traditional 9-to-5 also comes with inflexible schedules. You're pretty much just working Monday to Friday, you're 8-to-4, 9-to-5, whatever your shift is, and there's limited autonomy. The traditional office setup often leaves people feeling unfulfilled and burnt out, especially when, in Trinidad, there was a report that was done a couple of months ago that was talking about how the average Trinbagonian spends over a month in traffic per calendar year because they're spending over, I think the average commute was like 2 or 2.5 hours per one-way trip to the office, right? And it added up that you would accumulate, over a month of the year spent in traffic. Crazy. And it takes a major toll on your relationships, your mental health, your physical health, everything, right? Because you're really getting burnt out and you're running yourself to the ground. So digital nomadism offers the freedom and flexibility to kind of work on your terms and prioritize your personal interests and craft a lifestyle that aligns with, what you want out of your life. The second major driving force getting people to rethink their, what they're doing is the cost of living in their home countries. So, depending on where you were born in probably, like if you're somebody who's born in Toronto, like I wasn't born in Toronto, but, we moved there when I was a baby. You're in a city that your home city is just one of the highest, most expensive places to live. If you were born and raised in New York, born in Cali, think of all of the cities and countries with the highest cost of living, and you were just born into that situation and, high cost of living is all and you're unable to kind of make your ends meet, you're going to struggle, right? So high cost of living, including housing, healthcare, your daily expenses, can make it challenging to achieve any kind of financial stability and save money in certain countries. Then you have the third pain point, the desire for the work-life balance. So the increasing demands of work in a fast-paced world leave little room for personal growth, travel, or meaningful connections, and many feel like they are sacrificing too much for their careers. And again, you feel like you have to climb the corporate ladder because the cost of living is rising. And in order to be able to afford any kind of lifestyle that you want, you got to make the money, which forces you now to climb the corporate ladder. And it's a sick game of you just being on this treadmill, and it just feels like it's never ending, right? Then you also have the dissatisfaction with the local job market. So in many countries, many cities, many regions, there are limited job opportunities. Then there are low wages. People are feeling stagnant in their career growth, and professionals are feeling stuck more than ever before, unable to reach their potential. Okay? Again, we're talking, some of the driving factors that are forcing people to rethink their life and choose digital nomadism. And last but not least, there's a desire for adventure and new experiences. So for many, life feels monotonous and predictable with little opportunity for exploration or personal enrichment. And the desire to break free from the routine drives them to seek something different. So those are like the key pain points that people are experiencing. And maybe you're experiencing it right now. And if you're feeling any one of those pain points, you're not alone, because those have been like the key driving factors for people to sit down with themselves and think to themselves, this ain't it. What I'm doing here, what I'm doing now, it's not it. And even when you love your home country, even when you love the city, if it gets to that point where you could no longer afford to be there, or you have to sacrifice too much to gain a good quality of life where you're no longer enjoying it, because guess what, folks? We all know the story. Getting the house, getting the car, having the kids, having the white picket fence, I don't want to say it's not all it's cracked up to be, because that's not at all it, but it comes with sacrifices. And depending on where you live, the sacrifices are going to be even more. Like, just imagine trying to raise your family in the most expensive city in the world, but you don't have that job to facilitate the lifestyle that you want for yourself or for your family. That also adds to the mental anguish that many people are going through. So we have a lot of people who are going through the pain points that we were talking about. I have these conversations. I probably have these conversations so much more now because people are going through it and they just don't know where to go. They don't know what to turn to. And as I have been able to, move to my third country, and I'm starting to kind of figure it out for myself, people are, reaching out a lot more, and they're asking the necessary questions. But more importantly, I think people are reaching out to kind of vent. They're going through the pain points that we're speaking about, and it has them depressed. It has them not feeling good about themselves. It has them not being able to achieve the life that they want for themselves. And, we don't have many people in our region talking about it, because there's also this stigma in the Caribbean where if you leave, you're not patriotic. And that's not true. You could fly the flag all over, and you could bring the culture that you could bring your culture to wherever you go. I just sat down in a Jamaican restaurant last night. I'm here in Bangkok. And I was listening to some amazing tunes whole night, rock to my buju whole night. What I had curry goat and rice and peas and some coleslaw, and I had some drinks, and I was good. And I got to look around. It's people from the colored community, people from the black community, people from Thailand. We have people from a variety of different parts of the world just coming to the Jamaican spot and enjoying Jamaican cuisine, So again, it's a vibe. You can bring your culture everywhere you go and put your culture on the map in a variety of different countries. So don't feel like, you leaving is unpatriotic. That's something that we need to stop trying to tell people they're not patriotic for leaving, right? Because the reality is, regardless of where you come from, if where you are living, if your home country, your home city isn't doing it for you, and you're not able to achieve the lifestyle that you want for yourself, then you got to make a change. Point blank, period. That's just what it is. You got to be the one to make that change. So what are some of the benefits for the individuals you're You're hearing about being a digital nomad. You're hearing about being able to be a remote worker, work from just your laptop, work anywhere in the world. What are the benefits to becoming a digital nomad? Right? Let's explore that. So the biggest benefit, and I could attest to this, and again, everything that I'm talking about, I'm going through it myself. Okay. What are the biggest benefits? The biggest benefit of all is the work-life balance and freedom. Digital nomads are able to structure their days to suit personal needs and priorities. They can work in a cafe in the morning. They could explore a new city in the afternoon. They can finish tasks in the evening. This autonomy enables them to integrate work and personal life more seamlessly than traditional 9-to-5 office roles. You do need discipline. That's probably the biggest characteristic of being a digital nomad is having that discipline. Because when you find yourself a proper country, right? So I'll give you Bangkok as an example. When you find yourself a city like Bangkok, where there's so much to do, there's so much to explore, whatever you want, whether it's you want nightlife, whether you want morning life, whether you want cafes, whether you want whatever you want, you have. And none of it breaks the bank, right? You know how much discipline you got to have when you're in a city where everything is at your fingertips, or you can go to some amazing places, eat some amazing food, see some amazing sights, whether it's, anything that they've built, or whether it's, just natural beauty. When you have all of that at your disposal, do you know how much discipline it takes to not blow your entire savings in a week? You know how much discipline it takes? It takes a lot of discipline. But what I will say is that experiencing the work-life balance for myself, where there are days where I'm like, I don't feel like doing nothing, and I might just go upstairs to the rooftop pool and sleep for a couple hours, and that be okay. There are days where I'll go to the park and I'll go and take a walk. There are days where I'll go do brunch. There are nights where, like last night, man, let me go to a restaurant, let me sit down and let me eat, let me drink. And then when the bill comes, I did not break the bank to have a good time. That work-life balance, for me, makes me want to work harder. Because now I want to work harder to make more money so that I can have more work-life balance, right? It's weird. It's weird. It's weird because, I came at a time where, I came at the end of September. So as we know, the world tends to wind down, the last couple of months. And it's December 19th, right? So I want to work harder, and I'm planning. I have not really been, doubling down on work. I have been winding down, but I'm more motivated for January than I've probably ever been motivated for January. Like, I'm extremely motivated to put a lot of the plans that I have into action because I see how good my life can be, right? The fact that, I went to Vietnam last week, and when I looked at how much I spent what, 150 US on a plane ticket, a return trip, spent $170 for 4 days, 3 nights in a beachfront hotel in a beach city. You want to be able to afford these experiences, right? So in order to afford them, you got to go out, you got to go make the money. But the fact that you now can, work from anywhere, and you have that balance and you have that freedom to just say, man, I could do with a little, I could do with some Singapore noodles. Let me go to Singapore and let me go get some Singapore noodles and you know what I mean? Like, you can do that without breaking the bank. So that type of work-life balance and freedom is a different motivational beast that many people will never experience in their lives. But for those who have experienced it, it's motivation. It really is. Second benefit opportunity for travel and adventures. Like I said, the digital nomad lifestyle allows individuals to experience new cultures, visit iconic landmarks, and enjoy adventures in different parts of the world, all while maintaining a steady income. This blends work with exploration, giving a sense of continuous discovery. The fact that you're not tied down to any one place or any one location. So whenever I feel like working from a completely different spot, you just grab your laptop, right? You grab your laptop, you have your phone, you got a data plan on your phone, you could hotspot your phone, you got internet connection, or wherever you are has a Wi-Fi, and you can work. So I had to teach one of my modules for my university class. I taught that module in Vietnam. Beachfront, 4 o'clock in the morning. I had to get up, but guess what? I was able to do that from Vietnam. Right? This is a class I'm teaching in Trinidad and Tobago, but I was able to teach it on a beach in Vietnam. And again, when you do it for yourself, those things do something for your psyche. Okay, they do something to your psyche. They make you more motivated because you know that it can be done. You've done it, so now you know you can do it again, and it becomes addictive. How do I continue to work, make good money, then travel and explore? Which leads to the third benefit: cultural immersion. So, living in various countries, digital nomads get to experience local traditions, cuisines, and customs firsthand. Unlike tourists, they often stay for extended periods, forming deeper connections with the community and truly immersing themselves in different cultures. I haven't dove in deep into the culture of Thailand as yet, outside of like the food. I've been eating a lot more Thai food and whatnot, but I know in the new year, there's a lot of sites, there's a lot of temples, there's a lot of oh god, there's a lot of nature that I want to go. There's a lot of natural sites that I want to go out and see. Excuse me for the brain fart. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I want to go out and see, and there's a lot of things that I want to immerse myself in with the culture because I'm intrigued. I am intrigued that they have this big population. The community feels extremely welcoming. Thailand is called the land of smiles. The people are very warm. You don't see, 3 months in, I haven't seen no fighting. I haven't heard a gunshot. Me ain't seen no fights. I want to learn more about, how they have been able to kind of create this very warm and peaceful, tranquil environment in their society. I'm very interested, right? Number fourth benefit is the cost optimization. This is a big one. Digital nomads can choose to live in countries where the cost of living is lower than their home country. This can mean better accommodation, better food, and a lifestyle for a fraction of the cost, allowing them to save money and invest in other priorities. So we don't speak enough about how being able to save money or a strategy to save money is by changing your location. If you are able to change the country, change the city where you are living, and you are still being able to earn a higher currency. So, for example, if you're earning US dollars or British pounds, something that has high value, and you're living in a country like a Thailand where that money, that currency difference goes a lot further for you, and you could live off of that spread, that allows you to live a higher quality of life. Me and one of my friends were having a conversation. I'm like, yo, you could afford to date out here. You could legit afford to date because, depending on what country you're living in, if you're building a business or if you're a remote worker and, dates are extremely expensive, then you're not going to really date as much. And the dates that you do are going to be very, cost effective in mind, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that, right? I'm just saying that when you're living in a place where you're earning a higher currency and the cost of living is a lot cheaper and you could afford a higher quality lifestyle, that just opens up the doors to doing a wide variety of new things, Now, when you want to go and tell a girl, when you want to go and tell, that cute girl you've been eyeing, yo, steak on me. What, filet mignon? Man, I got filet mignon money. You mean it? Try taking a girl on filet mignon on your first date in New York. How far are we getting? How far are we getting? You put that on credit card and pay for it over time? How far are we getting? But you come out to a place like Vietnam that was just named the most affordable country in the world, Thailand, even Mexico City, Colombia, Medellin. You come out to places like this, and yo, you could afford it. You could afford filet mignon. You know what I mean? You could afford filet mignon. And again, this is why, benefits of being a digital nomad, you're earning a higher currency and you're living in a country that has a lower cost of living. You have a higher quality of life, right? So cost optimization, you get to save more money and you get to spend the money on the things that are really important to you, right? Then, fifth benefit, increased productivity and creativity. I talk about this all the time. A change of scenery can boost your productivity and inspire your creativity. Working from a beach, a mountain lodge, or a historic city provides fresh perspective that can lead to innovative ideas and solutions. When you hear guys like Kanye, right, and I'll use Kanye as the example because he's top of mind because he just did. He either just did it. I'm not sure if he completed it, but this is where he is right now. He is producing a new album, and he's not in the States right now. You know where he went? Kanye flew out to Japan. Kanye's been living in Japan for, I think, the last 2 months for exactly what I just said. Inspiration for creativity, and he's in Japan getting inspired to create this new album. When you are a digital nomad, especially if you are a nomad that has their own business, being able to now go to different countries, live there long term, stay there long term, provides a whole new level of creativity and productivity because you just see things. And I always talk about this as well for the Caribbean audience, where we have a lot of problems within the Caribbean region that are not getting solved. And a big part of it is because the majority of the Caribbean citizens have never left the islands. So how do you expect people to build a bigger, better society and solve real world problems when they've never been exposed to what the solutions look like? How do you do that? And I think that if more of our citizens can get out there into the world, those who can get out in there, get out into the world, live in different countries, see different things, see how things work, you're going to be able to now come back to the region with newfound knowledge to solve some of these problems. And you can now disseminate more information to the people who have never left the region. We're going to need a lot of that moving forward, right? So just being able to see different cultures, see different sites goes a long way in your creativity and just fresh perspective to help you come up with new ideas and solutions to key problems. Sixth benefit, networking and global connections. So living in various locations exposes digital nomads to diverse professional and personal networks. They often meet other remote workers, entrepreneurs, and locals, which can lead to collaborations, friendships, and opportunities they wouldn't have found otherwise. That is going to be something I'm going to tap into for next year. Like I said, I came at the end of September. I've been more on my solo dolo. I've been meeting people, but I haven't tried to link up with people the way that I know I will come in the new year, where I'm going to be more open to linking up and getting to know people and meet people and collaborate and whatnot. Right now, I've just been on, I've been meeting people, but I've really been on my solo dolo vibes. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's that. Number 7, personal growth and independence. So navigating life in a foreign country builds resilience, problem-solving skills, and self-reliance. Digital nomads often develop a stronger sense of independence and adaptability as they manage challenges like language barriers, cultural differences, and unfamiliar environments. Trust and believe this is huge. And I'm learning it myself because even I mean I've gone through it already. Just keeping in mind that even when people can speak English to you here, sometimes they don't understand the context and the nuance of some of the things that they say, right? And it might be fighting words for us back home, but for them, they're none the wiser. You know what I mean? So there are going to be things that you learn, and it has taught me in a short time I've been here, because this is the first time I've lived in a country that's not a native English speaking country. They speak Thai. They don't even have the English alphabet here. They have their own alphabet, right? So them learning English, it's so far from their norm that, again, when I'm speaking to people, when I'm communicating with people via text, even though technology has broken down the language barrier, like there are people that I communicate with that don't speak any English, but they use a translator and whatnot. Then there are people that do speak English, but again, it's not their native language. So when they say things, sometimes I've caught myself taking it the wrong way, but I'm like, take a step back. It's not at all what you think it is. And you progress through that conversation and you realize, nah, you read that as if it was somebody back home, but that's not how they meant it. Right? So it does teach you personal growth. It does teach you patience. It does teach you empathy, and it does force you to take a step back to really think about what's happening in front of you. Then we have, and I hope to tap into this, come the new year, the health and wellness benefits. So many digital nomads prioritize their physical and their mental health. As we know, they often have the flexibility to spend more time on exercise, outdoor activities, and mindfulness practices. Living in places with better weather or access to nature can also contribute to a healthier lifestyle. I 1000% agree. And again, I have found myself going to the parks a lot more just to get outside, to take a walk, not really think about anything, but just clear my mind. And when I'm in the park, I often remind myself, I'm like, yo, when is the last time I've done this? I don't even remember walking in the park in Toronto. Definitely didn't do it in Trinidad. But now that I'm here and the environment's completely different and we have a lot more access to parks, a lot more access to nature and things like that, and it's a more safer environment, you want to get outside. You want to go take that walk. You want to go to, the beaches, the beach cities, and you want to do all these things, right? So it definitely does come with a lot of health and wellness benefits. I remember earlier this year, Erica Badu did a meditation retreat in Bali, and I thought that was just amazing, right? She did a whole meditation retreat in Bali. But again, these are things I would love to do. So I'm going to be on the lookout for these types of things to incorporate it into my lifestyle. I want to go, in the new year, I'm going to go look into joining a Muay Thai gym. I'm getting into, the combat sport more so for fitness and whatnot. But again, you have access to these things, and I'm excited to go ahead and do that. And again, it's just great to be in a place that offers these types of benefits. So when you're looking at the countries, these are some of the things you want to be looking for as well. The ninth benefit is that broader worldview. So experiencing life in different countries provides a more global perspective. Digital nomads gain deeper understanding of cultural diversities, global issues, and different ways of life, making them more empathetic and informed citizens of the world. And I really believe that is absent in the Caribbean, right? A lot of the times when we think of things, it's from a very small perspective or a very small viewpoint. And again, I'm empathetic to people because, when you ask them, like, hey, have you ever moved out of, think of some of our smaller islands. Think of Tobago. Think of the Grenadines. Think of Carriacou. Think of a lot of our small islands. You have people that have never left. Like, the islands are already small. And you have people living in the even smaller islands who have never left, right? So they don't have the perspectives and the worldviews that you might have if you are well-traveled. So getting people to get out of their home cities, get out of their home countries without having to go through the rigmarole of trying to, get a work visa and find employment in that local country. This is why I talk so much about digital skills and trying to get people to learn more digital skills, because if you can get a remote job or you have a business that allows you to be remote, you can now start to live in various countries. And again, over time, you just get a broader perspective on the world. I was having a conversation with my co-host, Ricolia. Shout out to Ricolia. She's making her own plans to, move to another country. And I was telling her, I'm like, you know what? I know Thailand is not my forever home. Not because Thailand's not amazing. I think there's a lot of places I would live in Thailand and be great. But I do believe that I want to have a variety of experiences. And it's been on my mind more and more. I'm here for 5 years, and because I'm basing myself in Thailand and specifically in Bangkok, travel to the majority of the world is extremely affordable. Like, I was looking at flights to Portugal the other day, and it's like 18 hours or 16 hours to get to Portugal from here, but that was costing me 600 US. It cost me more to fly to Jamaica from Trinidad. When I was going to Jamaica, it was like 700 to 800 US. And that's a 3-hour flight. So you're telling me 16, 18 hours from Bangkok to Portugal is costing me 600 US? Come on, right? So you have this ability to fly to different countries. It's affordable travel, so I'm very happy for that, being able to do that from Bangkok. But I know I also want to live in other countries as well to just, have just different experiences. And, variety is the spice of life, so why not, right? I know I got to live in a Spanish country. Man, Colombia had me eating some amazing food, had me looking at beautiful, beautiful people. Like, I was breaking my neck every 2 seconds. My God, Colombia has some beautiful people. That's another episode. But anyways, you know what I mean, right? So, living in different countries, different cities as a digital nomad, you get that broader perspective, that broader worldview. And the 10th benefit is going to be the career flexibility and growth. So digital nomads often work in industries or roles that prioritize skills over locations, such as, copywriting, graphic design, web development, software development, any of the AI skills, just to name a couple. But this lifestyle pushes them to continuously learn, adapt, and improve their skills, often leading to career growth and higher earning potential, right? So those are 10 benefits to the individuals that are looking to become digital nomads. But now let's look at the other perspective. What are the benefits to countries starting to attract digital nomads? And this is really where I want a lot of our leaders in the Caribbean to pay attention, because I truly believe we got to double down, and for the reasons that I'm about to list, all right? So the first reason, and the biggest reason, the most important reason, is the economic boost. Digital nomads inject money into the local economy through spending on accommodations, dining, transportation, co-working spaces, and think of all the other services: hair salons, barbershops, nail techs, you name it, we're spending the money on those additional services. This consistent cash flow helps to stimulate economic activity and supports small businesses. Everything that I do, all of the money that I'm earning, outside of, sending money to my kids and whatnot, but I'm spending all of my money here in Thailand. I have a regular person that does my hands and nails. I could afford it, so I'm there every single month doing a mani and pedi. I talk about how many times I go for massages. Again, that's money going into a lot of the massage spas and whatnot, right? The barber, paying money to the barber. Just think about that. The transportation that I'm spending. There's a lot of money. All I am is a net positive for Thailand. All that money that I'm generating, I'm spending inside of the local economy. The food vendors on the side of the road, the little cafe shops. We have more foreigners that are coming in, and now they're spending their money at their shops. And the shop owners don't necessarily have to increase their prices to make money because now they have higher volumes than ever before spending their money inside of their shops. That is a huge economic boost. And the difference is with the short-term visitors, there's a lot more work to attract short-term visitors, and the money that they spend, we don't know how much money a short-term visitor is spending. Some of them could just come and spend these find a cheap place to stay and live off of bread and cheese and not really spend money inside of the country, right? Happens. But then when you have a long-term visitor, they're spending a sustained amount of money inside of your economy. And that is why digital nomads are really being heavily attracted to countries, because that sustained economic injection of money that they're putting into the economy. And that brings us to our second point, which is the tourism revenue beyond the short stays. So unlike short-term tourists, digital nomads often stay for extended periods of time, contributing a steady income stream for businesses over time. The longer stays also reduce seasonal dependency on tourist areas. So think about how many of the Caribbean islands go through the high season, low season. When you can attract digital nomads, that reduces the dependency. You're not really having that high season, low season because you have people that are staying there long term. So when the high season does come and you get that boost, great. But then when the low season comes, you still have long term people that are staying here. So you're not dipping as far as you would have dipped before if you did not have digital nomads as a part of your economic and tourism plan. So again, big benefits. Thailand is a place where that has experience. They go through it. They go through big high seasons. Thailand was named for the second year in a row the most visited country, and Bangkok was the most visited city in the world for 2 years straight. And again, they go through it where when it's high season, the numbers they skyrocket. But then when it's low season, it's low season, and you have people that they have rental properties that go unrented for a long time. And if you're somebody who is staying here long term, those are the best times to move is during low season, because the landlords typically know that it might be 5-6 months before their rental property gets rented again because it's low season. And you can negotiate your rental prices. So it's easier to negotiate rental prices for your property and sign a lease for a reduced price during low season than when you're trying to find a place during high season. And landlords are like, nah, we can get what we want for our places and more. Right? So again, the long term stays of digital nomads has some big benefits for the countries as well. The third point for the country is a diverse skill influx. So digital nomads bring expertise in industries like technology, marketing, creative fields, and these skills may trickle into the local workforce through collaborations, workshops, or mentorship programs, fostering innovation and skill development. So you have more talented people that are coming to your shores. And naturally, when you're building a community and you're starting to mix and mingle with the local residents, you're going to be imparting your knowledge on them as well. It's a two-way street. They're going to be showing you around. They're going to be, that might be your best friend, go out and do activities with, go do Muay Thai with, but then you're also able to give them something in return. And it's an amazing cultural exchange, professional exchange happening because you are here, right? So when you have more talented people on your shores, it's going to have a trickle-down effect. Number 4, the promotion of secondary cities. So many digital nomads prefer quieter, less tourist-heavy locations, bringing economic activity to smaller cities and rural areas. This also helps to distribute wealth more evenly across the country and alleviate over-tourism in major urban centers. So whilst Bangkok is, one of the most popular cities in the world, so people are coming here, because of digital nomads, you have the cities like Pattaya, the beach city. You have cities like Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai. you have all these other cities that people are going to now because they're here long term and they don't just want to stay in the big city like Bangkok. They want to go to the beach cities. They want to go to the mountainous areas, the rural areas. Think about the places in Bali, the Ubud, I don't know all the cities in Bali. I know Ubud. Oh, I forget. Oh man, I was doing so much research in Bali when I was looking at Bali. I forget some of the other popular cities, but you get the idea, right? You're no longer just getting people to stay in the main areas because now you have different types of environments. But guess what? Bangkok is the most expensive place to live in Thailand. And you're telling me you can get a condo for as low as 190 US a month? So you're telling me that if I go out to any one of these other cities, life is food, accommodations, these things are going to be even cheaper? Of course, that is why the secondary cities are also getting that economic boost as well, because people are coming to these countries and they're like, man, I want to save as much money, but I want to increase the quality of my life. So rather than do a Bangkok, why not do a Chiang Rai or a Pattaya or any one of the other cities where cost of everything is cheaper and you get to save more money and live a higher quality of life. So the secondary cities of countries are getting financial boost as well. All right. Then number 5, increased global visibility. So attracting digital nomads, countries position themselves as a modern, innovative, and business-friendly destination. Positive experiences are shared by nomads on social media through content, blogs, YouTube, podcasts, you name it. And that enhances the country's international reputation. Since I've been in Thailand, I've had 4 people from Trinidad and Tobago move to Thailand. And a bunch of other people who have messaged me trying to figure out, hey, how can they go and make this jump? I'm just one person. There are much bigger content creators who are talking about Thailand, and not just Thailand, but there are content creators that are talking about the countries they've relocated to, and that's just bringing more people, more nomads to their countries. And again, it's an equal exchange. You're getting to create the lifestyle that you want to have in their country, experience a whole different culture, and you're coming with your cash injection and, hopefully your positive attitude, and you're mixing and mingling with the local residents, and you're making new friends, and you're imparting your knowledge and your wisdom. And I see that a lot happening in Thailand. When I look at a lot of the Thai creators, they are interacting with a whole lot of people from around the world, and you're seeing relationships being built. You're seeing cultures being exchanged. Like, you're seeing it through the content itself. So it is happening. It is happening. And again, it's just great to see. And and this is why I really believe that we're in the midst of this major shift globally, where people are no longer just going to be living in their home countries. Now, when you have the ability to work from anywhere, and countries are opening up their borders to more digital nomads, creating more visa programs to attract people to stay there long term, when you get the opportunity to work from anywhere and then choose where you want to live, do you stay in your home country? Do you stay in your home city? I mean, you can if you want. We're not knocking that. But we're just saying, if you're able to live anywhere you want, would you still choose your home city? And a lot of times people are like, yo, love home. I can always come back, but let me go out and explore the world. Let me go out and live in Spain for a couple of years or for a couple of months. Let me go and live in Brazil for however long. Let me go live in Chile. Let me go live in Mexico. Let me go live in Iceland. Like, you have options, right? And you get to create the lifestyle that you want. And again, that's truly amazing. Then we have the cultural exchange and soft power. So hosting digital nomads fosters that cross-cultural exchange, enriching the local community. This builds mutual understanding and promotes the host country's culture globally, creating long-term goodwill. And again, as I said, we're seeing that happen to a lot of the content creators that are mixing and mingling with people from all over the world, and they're sharing their cultures. They're speaking about the differences between their home country and Thailand. And this is all happening on platforms like TikTok. You're learning more about countries through content creators exchanging their experiences, and you're learning a lot more about countries through TikTok and that cultural exchange through content. So again, it is happening, and it is happening at scale. Couldn't be happier. Number 7, the development of digital infrastructure. So, in order to attract and support digital nomads, host countries invest in faster internet, co-working spaces, modern amenities. These upgrades benefit both the locals and the visitors, improving the overall quality of life. So when I spoke about, the other day where I was saying the government in Trinidad and Tobago should really focus on trying to build up Tobago, clean up Tobago, build the necessary infrastructure. I mean, we have the fastest internet. Tests were done the other day. Trinidad and Tobago has the fastest internet of all of the Caribbean islands, and internet for the most part is pretty stable. We have a cheaper cost of living than a lot of the other islands as well. If Trinidad and Tobago could build up Tobago as a digital hotspot, that digital haven, that would be good. A lot of people were messaging and saying, "No, Tobago's not ready. Tobago's not ready. Tobago's not ready." Folks, the point of me bringing it up is to say this is something that the government could do to build it up. We need to build, again, people forget. And this is one of the things that I knock us in the Caribbean for. We focus so much on why it can't happen, and we don't ask the necessary questions of what do we need to do to get us ready to make it happen. We don't ask that. We typically run to it can't happen. Well, this is how growth happens. We see a problem or we see an area of opportunity, and we take the steps to get to that point, to get us ready, right? So every single country that's attracting digital nomads, newsflash, folks, they have to get themselves ready to attract people. So in Thailand, we are seeing condos. We are seeing literally 5-star luxury condos popping up all over the place. My realtor has said she has not lived in the same condo for more than a year for the last 10 years because there's new condos popping up every single year. So she moves to a new condo to enjoy a new area, enjoy a different lifestyle every single year, right? So again, we got to think about what do we need to get us ready to now to be able to attract digital nomads, because it's a competition between countries. Countries are competing to attract more digital nomads. And if you are not doing the necessary things to make yourself attractive, well, guess what? That money that the regular average Joe who is a customer service rep but does it remotely, he is now going to take his dollars and go somewhere that's going to be more appeasing to him, right? So it is a competition between the countries of who can build the better, more attractive places for digital nomads to live. We in the Caribbean have to get ourselves ready to really take a slice out of that pie. All right. Then, number 8, we have the tax revenue from digital nomad visas. So many countries charge fees for digital nomad visas, creating an additional source of government revenue. Some also implement tax policies that capture income generated by nomads while living in their country. Then you also have countries that do have tax agreements between your home country and the country you're choosing to live, so you are not getting double tax. So all of these are things that you could be looking into. The point is that there is revenue that can be made through the digital nomad visas. When I applied for my digital nomad visa, it cost me 650 Canadian to apply to get the visa. That was revenue for the country, right? And again, think about the millions of people that are now migrating into Thailand. They're generating quite a large number of money. With Barbados introduced their welcome stamp during COVID. And the first year of them creating the welcome stamp, they generated almost $2 million US just by the fees of the welcome stamp. So we know that it can generate money. But again, we're not really doubling down on it, and you don't really hear anything about, the digital nomad visas of the Caribbean, which I think is a crime at this point, because even as is, we still have a lot to offer, and people do want to live the lifestyle in the Caribbean. So even as is, we still have stuff to offer, but we can definitely improve and streamline so that we can become more attractive to people to stay long-term in the region. Number 9, the ninth benefit for host countries is that it encourages sustainable tourism. So digital nomads often prioritize sustainable and eco-friendly practices, aligning with global trends toward responsible tourism. And their presence can help shift the tourism industry toward more sustainable models, right? That's a big one. And finally, because I now realize I'm coming up on my hour. Number 10 is the stimulation of real estate markets. So digital nomads often rent apartments or condos or stay in Airbnbs. They utilize co-living spaces, contributing to the local real estate markets. This demand incentivizes property owners to improve the standards and diversify the offerings. That's why I say there are condos popping up like weeds here in Bangkok. There are cafes that are popping up like weeds here in Bangkok. When you're seeing the different types of varieties of just experiences that people are building, that's just more money that they're able to earn, right? I went to Ban Swan Cafe the other day, and it's a cafe that's built like a rainforest in the middle of the city, with a waterfall inside the restaurant. There's a koi pond, that runs throughout the entire restaurant. They have these mist machines that create this entire rainforest-like capital, and we're in the middle of Bangkok. We're in the middle of the concrete jungle, right? So people are creating these experiences all over the place, and naturally you want to go and experience them. So the more experiences that are being created, the more condos that are popping up. Again, the real estate market is greatly being incentivized. It's greatly being incentivized because it's making the cities and the countries more attractive. People are coming, they're spending their money, and they're having a good time, and it all helps as a part of that work-life balance we were talking about earlier, right? So everybody benefits on both sides of the coin, right? Countries benefit, the individuals benefit, and it's really great to see where things are going. And this is why we're having this rise of the digital nomads. And I really believe, if 2024 is any indication, more countries are going to start positioning themselves as a spot to attract long-term stays, right? Because that's more economic money coming in, whether it be from the visa program, the initial injection, but then the long-term injection of their cash because they're going to be staying in their country. It just stimulates, the entire economic growth of these countries. So we are going to see a rise of digital nomads, and more countries are positioning themselves, and countries that you probably never would have thought of. Like, have you ever thought about living in Vietnam? What do we even know about Vietnam? You know what I mean? Besides from what we've heard over the years of growing up, between the war with the U.S., people still think it's all jungle in Vietnam. But then you start to do your homework and you realize that Vietnam has some amazing cities. They have some amazing beaches. They just got crowned the most affordable country in the world. And all of a sudden, Vietnam looks like the perfect destination to give you everything that you want and need for the lifestyle that you want to live. So think about it, all right? But it's amazing to see. I'm experiencing it for myself, and everything I've spoken about, I can attest to. Being here has allowed me to create a life that I want to live, that is making me happy, where when I'm paying my bills, I don't want to say I'm happy to pay bills, but I'm not crying. Because you could afford to pay all of your bills without breaking the bank. You have that flexibility to live a very frugal life if you want to do that. Or if you want to live a very luxurious life, you can do that as well. But, you could live off of $1,500 US a month without a problem. And that's including your going out and having entertainment and whatnot. Now, you could scale down and you could live a life that's sub 1,000 US a month. You could absolutely do that, right? If that's what you want to do, you can do that. You don't even have that ability to do that in other countries. So even if people are listening and they're like, yeah, but what kind of lifestyle could you live off of 1,000 US? Doesn't matter. Most countries, that's not even an option. $1,000 US a month, that's not even an option in most countries. The fact that you can actually live a lifestyle in Thailand or in some of these countries under $1,000 is insane, but it can be done. Will it require sacrifices? Of course, but you can do it. But once you hit 1,500 US, you're good. All your bills are paid. All your bills are paid. You can still go out. You can still eat. You can still eat good off of 1,500 US. And anything beyond 1,500 US, sky's the limit. Live whatever lifestyle that you want to live. You want a penthouse? Man, I seen a brand new condo with a private pool on the 30th floor that overlooks the beach in Pattaya at Copacabana condo for 2,000 US. You're on the 30th floor, you have your own private pool, and you're overlooking the beach for 2,000. Come on, man. Come on. What we doing? What we talking about? But that is why we have this rise of digital nomads. It's giving you that ability to really create the lifestyle that you want for yourself. And that's going to play greatly for your own mental health, the life that you want, and just, being able to explore this beautiful planet that we have in all these different countries, these different cultures, the different food. My goodness. What are the cons? To be honest, the pros of being a digital nomad far outweigh the cons. The biggest con really is, if you're somebody that prioritizes being close to family and friends, and you decide to pick up and move to Thailand, but your family's on the whole other side of the world, well, that's a con for most people. But then, is it really a con when, and this is why I say, the cons to me are kind of neither here nor there, because to me, if you're saving more money by being here, you could easily jump back on a plane and get back and go visit. It takes longer, no problem, but you've saved more money where it's a lot easier to go and do that. Right? So the being far away from family and friends is the biggest con. That's the biggest con. That's really the biggest con that I can think of, and even when I talk to other people, that really is the biggest con, is just being far away from family and friends. And then people are thinking about, when they become a digital nomad, they're thinking about, trying to live in a country that's a lot that's faster to get back home to certain countries. So these are things that you would factor into where you choose to live. That's not stopping people from becoming a digital nomad. That is just part of factoring in which country they choose to move to. Originally, before I decided on Thailand, I was dead set on moving to Medellin, Colombia. And one of the benefits to me was the fact that I was still within the region. I was still close to get to the different Caribbean islands. I was still close for my daughter to come up from Toronto and come and visit me. And again, she gets to see a whole new country and a whole new culture and experience that as well, right? So that was still a benefit, right? So not really a con to me. It's just something that you have to factor in when you are thinking about, which countries you want to live in, right? You don't want to be too far away. Great. You're not writing off being a digital nomad. You're just figuring out what is going to be the best country for you. Was talking to my boy. Shout out to Kevin Valley. Go check out the Value podcast. Shout outs to him. He recently got married. Shout out to Sosa, beautiful wife. They're living out in Nigeria right now, and we're here talking. He's from Trinidad. She's Nigerian. They were living in New York. They're in Nigeria now, and when we're talking about, do you see yourself living in Nigeria long term? And he's like, nah. We finally decided on living in a country out in Europe. I won't say which country because I don't know if he's put it out there, but he told me which country that him and his wife are going to be moving to. And part of the reason they chose that particular country was the access to faster flights to get to the States, to get back home to Trinidad and Tobago. and then they're not too far off. I think the time zone difference is like 5 hours to New York and 5 hours to Trinidad, something like that in regards to the time zones. But again, these were things where they said, okay, it's not that we're not going to be digital nomads. No, we just need to find the right place that gives us everything that we want. Flights to get back to the U.S., flights to get back to Trinidad, but then also, the time zone difference, we're not too far away from the markets that we are working in. So all of these things are going to be factors when you are deciding on where you want to live as a digital nomad. But the whole point is you have the options. You have the flexibility to make these choices, right? So I hope this episode really shined light on, why there is this global rise of digital nomads. And I know it's a topic, again, I get asked about this a lot now, so I hope this episode gives you some insights into the benefits and things to think about when you are deciding where you want to live and whatnot. It's great for your kids, too. If you're moving with your kids, it's great, too, because they're going to get to experience a new culture. They're going to get to learn a new language. They're going to grow up with more empathy because they're going to be interacting with different people from different situations. They're going to get more exposure. And to me, the people who I've had some of the greatest conversations with, who I think are just out of this world phenomenal, are people that have lived in multiple countries. It just so happens that, how their life turned out because of work, they've lived in multiple countries. They have this global perspective. They're more empathetic. They're more patient. Some of the best people that I know have just lived in multiple countries. And I never understood, just how impactful it is until now. Now that I'm on my third country, I see kind of, what has gone into making these people who they are and, why I admire them so much and, some of the characteristics that they have shown and displayed, right? So anyways, we've hit an hour and 11 minutes. Usually my limit is like an hour, But that's it from me for today's episode. If you enjoyed today's episode on the Digipreneur, please rate the podcast. If you're listening in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, please rate the podcast. The ratings help to continue to grow the podcasts all over the world. If you really enjoyed today's episode, please drop a review. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you're listening in on YouTube, like the podcast, drop a comment. All of these things help to continue to grow the podcast. You know me. I don't ask for much, but rate the podcast, drop a comment or drop a review. Those things help to continue to grow the podcast all over the world. If you want to follow me, check me out on social media at KERONROSC on all social media platforms. Pick and choose which one you want to follow me on and communicate on. I'm available on all of them. Don't forget to check out the KaronRose.com website to learn more about building your digital presence and monetizing your platforms. Last but not least, check out the Digipreneur.FM website to stay up to date on all things related to the podcast. That is it from me today, folks. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have yourself a wonderful day and take care.
You've been listening to the Digiboss, Karan Rose. We hope your notepad was filled after this episode. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. The learning doesn't stop, folks. And to make sure you don't miss any gems from the Digiboss, go over and follow him on all social media platforms at Karan Rose. Folks, don't just sit there with a notepad. We need you to implement at least one thing into your business before the next episode. That's the only way your business levels up. Thanks for listening to Digipreneur FM. Now go be great.